The football season comes at you fast. Sometimes changes happen within a blur. Sometimes they take a year and a half, and then they materialize and hit you in the face with a brick. Today, we're covering the Kyren Williams saga here from weeks 1 and 2 that started from last year. That's starting to emerge right now. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing deep dives on these players every single day, looking at the data, looking at the interviews, looking at the situations, the tape. We're looking at player rankings. We're helping you find players off the waiver wire to help you with your fantasy football teams. Click that button. Stop missing out. But Kyren Williams is currently seeing some issues right now. Last week, 10 fantasy points. It's fine when you look at it. When you deep dive this further, 3.67 yards per carry, 3.88 yards per carry. Fortunately, he got that touchdown in week 1, but you're starting to see some of these numbers roll, and you're also starting to see Blake Corum take over some of the workload, and that might increase throughout the season. Sean McVay has recently mentioned it, that, hey, we may have to split this up. 2/3 of the touches going to Kyren Williams, 1/3 of the touches going to Blake Corum.
When it comes to the running back usage, obviously flow of the game dictates it. Is there any things in particular that impact the snap counts for Blake Corum and Kyren Williams?
Yeah, we have certain substitution patterns. I think the best way to be able to be consistent with it is you're able to sustain drives. I think what you're looking for is something around a 65-35, ratio for those guys. I think you want Kyren playing about 2/3 of the time and Blake playing the other third. And so, different things come up. There's certain things that you want, Kyren on, but I think Blake has done an excellent job. I think Kyren will be at his best, throughout the course of his season. And I think our job is to be able to figure out how to take advantage of two, really damn good football players in that running back room. And I thought Ron did a nice job with the rotation yesterday.
When you look at the numbers here, the efficiency metrics, it ain't looking good. His routes ran, he's only running 13 routes per game, which is fine, but not great for a top-tier running back. His snap share, 7th among running backs, which has decreased compared to last year. His carries, he ranked 6th. That has decreased compared to last year, but he's not efficient with the ball. We only have 1 breakaway run. We rank 14th among running backs with that. True yards per carry, we're ranking 30th. Yards per touch, 35th. Evaded tackles, that's 11th, but his juke rate's 21st. Yards created per touch, 37th among running backs. We're just not getting the most with the ball in our hands. We're just not getting it done. That's what the tape's saying. That's what the numbers are saying. And it was like that last year, but we were number 1 in snap share, number 2 in opportunity share. We were getting a lot of work, and the fact that Blake Corum might be stealing more of the workload. There's talk of it. There's actually numbers being thrown out now by Sean McVay. Just not him trying to say, yeah, we got to get more running backs in. We got to lessen the load, and then not doing it. He's talking about a 65-35 split, and you're looking at the efficiency metrics. This has been a trend that has been happening for over a year now. Not running many routes, not making guys miss. Yards per touch, 47th among running backs. Yards created per touch, 52nd. Yards created, 15th, but with a number 1 snap share. Ranking 3rd in carries, but yet 15th in yards created total. That's not a good look. 7th in rushing yards, 3rd in carries, number 1 in snap share, 7th in rushing yards. It's not adding up to being consistent. It's not adding up to being a long-time fantasy football status symbol for us fantasy gamers. And you're looking at the snaps, you're looking at the grades here from PFF. Only 5 snaps for Blake Corum. But when he was on the field, he was a head case last week. He was looking good. He was looking solid. He had 3.8 yards after contact per attempt, 19 yards after contact, 1 missed tackle force, same as Kyren Williams with less touches. 2 carries of 10-plus yards, same as Kyren Williams. You're looking at Kyren Williams, 20 snaps, 17 attempts, 66 yards, just a handful more than Blake Corum. Blake Corum's tape looks solid on Sunday, getting yards, breaking tackles. His grade 75.9 versus Kyren's 64.4. And Kyren Williams is a beast. He's a good running back. He's been solid. We've been touting him on the channel for years. We called out his come up. We called out him breaking out early in advance. But the numbers aren't adding up. He's not getting much workload in the passing game. He's not running a lot of routes. Targets aren't up there. We're getting less carries, which was the big thing about him for fantasy football. He was grinding touch after touch, getting carry after carry. He was getting all the snaps. Now that's reducing. We're seeing that in the rankings, and we're also hearing talk from McVay now that that's going to happen. And Blake Corum, he's a very good running back prospect, drafted in the 3rd round last year's draft, did nothing last year. We're actually more explosive. His prospect profile is very similar to Kyren Williams, as they're both jack-of-all-trades, dependable running backs. He's got good vision. You can depend on him. He's a lunch pail running back. You're looking at the snap shares here. Blake Corum is starting to cut in there. Even if Blake Corum doesn't cut in enough to where he steals the job, that's going to affect Kyren Williams because his main trait is getting a lot of snaps and getting a lot of touches. That's what it was last year because he wasn't efficient with the football. He wasn't great with the football last year. That's what the number says, and it's like that right now, but we're getting less touches, less opportunities, and you're seeing this with Blake Corum. We're starting to get more opportunities, and if he keeps playing like he did in week 2, they're going to have to get him the football more. They're going to have to explore what they got, and they're already talking about doing that, and you're seeing this in the true yards per carry, 7.42 to 3.74, breakaway run rates better, yards created per touch, receiving juke rate, all looking good. Blake Corum only has 6 carries, but he's making the most with his opportunities. 2 breakaway runs, 15 yards or more. Kyren only has 1 on the season. When you start seeing that as a coach, you're starting to see that upside. You're starting to see more efficiency after seeing a running back that's not as efficient. You're going to want to explore that, especially you drafted him in the 3rd round, especially you saw him last year. You didn't give him many opportunities, and he turned heads in training camp. He looked good in training camp. He looked solid, and we're looking at Kyren Williams. He's always been that bell cow. He's always been solid, but a lot of that's due to the snaps, due to the touches, getting touch after touch after touch. But if this efficiency stays the same and the touches keep going down, and they don't have to go down much for that to impact them in fantasy football, that's going to be huge. You're looking at Blake Corum, he did nothing last year. Kyren Williams did nothing his rookie season either. This is an offense, this is a system, a coaching staff that brings along players slowly, and now you're starting to see Blake Corum get some opportunities. And he's starting to earn more opportunities. Sean McVay has said that, and he's looking to do so. Sometimes he doesn't hold to that. We've seen that throughout the years. You're looking at what he did at Michigan, 1,200 yards in 2023, 27 touchdowns. That's coming back from a knee injury that forced him to come back to that 4th year. But in 2022, one of the top running backs in all college football, would have been drafted higher. If it weren't for that knee injury, he would have came out for the draft in 2022. This is a pristine prospect who road dogged the Big Ten. He beat up on Alabama, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, some big-time programs at college. This was a very productive running back prospect. Comes Jarquez Hunter. This is another indicator that they wanted more depth, more stability. They wanted another hit at the piñata here. Jarquez Hunter, good running back prospect from Auburn, good vision. Another jack-of-all-trades running back, another lunch pail running back with even more speed. He's explosive. We're watching him, but considering the trend here with the Rams, this might be a 2026 scenario, and that's something to pay attention to. Blake Corum's in line to get some touches. You're looking at the schedule here. We got the Eagles coming up. Another game like this out of Kyren Williams, a tough matchup. That's going to be rough. You're looking at the last 2 games. The Titans will bend and not break. That's what it's saying. They're above league average when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs. Just a 2-game sample. Obviously, we only got 2 games into the season. Same thing here with the Texans. Bend but not break. 20% down to league average. Bucky Irvin went off on them, but 13.9 and had to get that touchdown to get to that rate by Kyren Williams in that game. We got a rough matchup against Philly. Looks like we got a light on the end of the tunnel there against the Colts, but metrically could be a worse matchup compared to the last 2 games, as this Colts team has been bending but not completely breaking to some of these good running backs here. Dobbins gives you a good feel, But Devin Achan's a different beast. Now we're going to be looking at what Indy's doing on the road at the Titans, getting a good look at what they're going to do with Tony Pollard. But we got some matchups coming up. Ravens, 49ers again. Some matchups here, considering the efficiency rate and the lack of touches compared to last year, that's going to impact his fantasy status. So what the fuck are you going to do with Blake Corum, Kyren Williams? I think Blake Corum is a must-stash for Kyren Williams managers right now, just in case. I do not see Kyren Williams losing his job. I do see a reduction in touches. If something happens, you know Blake Corum's the next man up. He's got a good prospect profile, and he has not proven he was bad. He did not prove he was bad last year. He proved that he wasn't getting touches, and Kyren Williams got all the touches. Now Kyren Williams is not getting all the touches, and now Blake Corum's starting to chip away at that rock. And if that rock gets enough chips in it, there could be some changes, or it could just get ugly here for the Rams. Let me know what you think, though, in comments below during this deep dive. Did anything strike you? I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.